Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. The main problem we're going to be tackling for you, because this is the problem that you're struggling with, is that you're able to work on the first deep work session. You're able to be productive, but when you take a break, it takes really long for you to recover, right? And so maybe you're working on your business, takes a lot of focus. Maybe you're thinking about a personal problem or a business problem that's on your mind that takes from your focus. And so because you're so emotionally and mentally fatigued, your mind automatically gravitates towards the distractions. Instagram, YouTube, and you want to take a break. It makes sense. You should take a break. Like, oh, just let me spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. It turns into an hour instead of 5-10 minutes taking a break. And so that's the exact goal of this video, because this is going to solve the problem that you currently have. And the solution is to recover quickly. Okay? Sounds uncool, but we'll get into it in a second. We're going to make it sound cool. We're going to make it make sense, all right? The whole point of recovering quickly is so you can get back into that second deep work session faster. So you can recover quicker to get back into the productivity flow instead of it taking a day or two to recover, even depending on how hard you were working, how much focus that thing was taken out of your brain. To recover as quickly as possible means you can get back into the flow of your productivity as quickly as possible, whether that's working on your business, working on whatever. So what I want to show you, bro, this is the start. This is your brain when you first start your deep work session. Full focus, high energy, sharp. You understand? Thought process is lymphatic. And so when you're done with the deep work session, this is your brain. It's like man down, brain down. It's just like khalas, low energy, low focus. You're dead. Brain dead. You understand? And so the main goal is, how do we tap back into this state as quickly as possible? How do we recover as quickly as possible so we can tap back into this state as quickly as possible? Because what happens is, when you finish your first deep work session, and then, so this is how you start. When you finish, you're basically at, like, if you wanna think about like an actual video game, like supposedly from Call of Duty, bro. At the beginning of your deep work session, you're at 100% battery. But at the end, you're at 5-10%. You understand? And so when you need a break, okay, you're basically saying that I want to get from 10% recharge so that I can tap back into this state and continue about my day and be productive. The problem is that what you tend to do is you rest incorrectly. And so you continue going about your day operating at 10% and actually draining your battery even more. And so, of course, you're not going to want to work your second deep work session. Of course, you're not going to want to be productive because you're doing the things that drain your battery even more like crazy without you even realizing it. Okay? I remember one time, let me give you a quick little story, bro. Voice crack, whatever. Back, when did I start YouTube, bro? Like a year and a half ago? When I first started, you could see, like, literally search my first video, bro. It's like me in the garage. And I'm just pure vibes. Pure vibes. And I'm literally, I only had my phone, like using that right now. No mic, no setup, no scripts. I didn't even know what I was getting into. No, I just knew that content, leverage, inshallah, khalas, tawakkal ala Allah. And so I remember I was sitting outside one time. It was in the field. You can also see my old videos. You'll see me in a field. It's just a very huge field. And because I don't have any gear and I'm just genuinely prioritizing being consistent and leveling up my skills, I'm literally sitting on the floor. The sun is boiling hot. It was in the summer, man. And the way I get to the park is it's close to my house. So I just take the bike there. I've got my laptop so I can reference my notes when I want to record. I've got it's like a mic from Temu, basically. You'll see it. It's like it's trash. It's so trash. It was the cheapest mic ever. Just whatever. And I don't even have a proper tripod. So like the way I'd set up my phone, I swear to God, I would use the case of the microphone. It's like a square case. And then I've got like, I don't know what else I'd use, maybe like a few books, and I just stack it next to my computer wherever I'm sitting, and I just record. You could see it, and the angle was so trash. Point is, I'm recording. Midway through, 5 minutes in, not even midway, camera goes off. I can see like, oh, it stopped recording. Like, what the heck? Let me double check. Pop-up notification, insufficient storage. I'm like, oh my Allah. Insufficient storage? What do you mean? Sat there for 20 minutes deleting storage, freeing up space. Set up the camera again, recording. 10 minutes goes by. And the little green dot, like you know how like on the microphone you've got like a little color that shows it's on. And so on my old trash mic, the color was green. And it would show like if it's not there, that means it died. And so I just like quickly took a second to check it. There was no green light. And so I have no idea how long I was talking and my mic was out. And I was getting so irritated. The sun was out. It's boiling. I'm sweating. I need to finish this as soon as possible. It's supposed to be a deep work session. I need to finish this ASAP. It should not be this annoying to me. That was when I first started. I'm still learning things, right? 1 year later, I'm sitting in my living room in front of the computer desk. I'm setting up the stuff and I'm, got my video ready and I'm excited to do it. It's my deep work session. I'm recording. 5 minutes goes by. Camera goes off. Shoot. What the heck, man? Press it. Insufficient storage. Allahu Akbar, yazani. Allahu Akbar. Why? Mic goes off. Camera battery is low. Computer died on me. All these little things were happening and preventing me from finishing my deep work session. And I was like, I have been recording and making YouTube videos for a year now. I should not be having these stupid problems. I should not be having these like amateur level problems. I should be a professional by now. It's been a year I've had this problem. And so it's this idea of being a professional that you need to carry into your life, not just when it comes to work and business, but when it comes to resting. Resting like a professional, not an amateur. That's the key that you need to get back into this state as quickly as possible when you're in this state. You understand? Because what you've been doing is resting like an amateur. And you wonder why you don't want to work. You wonder why you try to force yourself, but you can't work, you can't focus. You've been resting like an amateur. You've had this problem for a while. 1 month, 1 year, whatever. And you've been resting like an amateur, bro. So you need to rest like a professional. By the way, to make it clear, resting is different than relaxing. Relaxing is the term that people who work a 9 to 5 use. Let me relax after work. Let me lay down on the couch, lay back, let me watch TV, let me chill, let me relax. You understand? That's not the term that we're talking about. The term we're talking about is resting. This is the term that high performers use. That's actually complementary to your work, not the opposite. Because relaxing, you probably think like, oh, it's just the opposite of work. You take a break from your work, right? That's relaxing. Resting is something that's complementary to your work. Actually, is supposed to boost your productivity. So, high performers see rest as something extremely productive. It's a very high leverage, high ROI thing you can do as someone who is trying to be much more productive. It's the highest ROI that you can do, highest return on investment thing that you can do when you're in this state is rest like a professional. Highest most productive thing you can do when your focus is down, when your energy is down, when you're emotionally, mentally fatigued. You understand? And so the way I want you to see rest, okay, is rest is literally like a stim shot. If you've played Call of Duty, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In Call of Duty, when you're down, when you're shot, health is low, you can revive yourself by taking a stim shot. You literally, you stick it in and boom, you're up and ready to go. You're back into this state, And it's the exact same way when it comes to resting. If your focus is down, you need to take a break, you're emotionally, mentally fatigued, the quickest way to tap back into this state is to take a stim shot, to rest properly. Because resting is literally like a stim shot. It literally revives your focus and your energy like instantly. That's how insane it is, you know? And to prove this to you that resting like a professional is the key that you need, bro. And we'll get to a few ways of how you can rest like a professional. I got you. Running out of breath, jeez. Getting too excited. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, bro. What's another name that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls him? I know there's a bunch of names. I'm gonna just tell you, bro. Muzammil. I was about to write it in Arabic. Muzammil. Okay? In Surah Al-Muzammil, let me actually play the ayah for you. Okay? I'm gonna put my mic towards the speakers. Bismillah.
يا أيها المزمل قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا.
ناصر القطامي الله مبارك. Back to the point. Ya ayyuhal muzammil. He's talking to Allah. Allah is talking to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Qumil layl illa qalila. What is qumil layl? For those of you who don't speak Arabic, it's qiyam al-layl. You understand? Qiyam al-layl. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling him qumil layl? Do qiyam al-layl, ya Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The few ayats after qumil layla illa qalila, Allah says, Inna sanulqi alayka قولا ثقيلا. إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا. At that time of Allah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down this ayah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given da'wah. Imagine him, going outside of his house. He's on the street, like on the block, on the sidewalk. You want to think about it like that, and he's talking to people. He's like trying to spread the message, kind of like us businessmen. We understand what marketing is. Letting people know of your idea. And so he's marketing the concept of Islam, that it's the truth. And obviously it is. And at that time, because it was something very new, something very strange, Islam started off as strange, right? He was getting a lot of criticism. He was getting a lot of emotional criticism. It was very emotionally hard for him to be rejected. If you work in sales or whatever, you understand that. It sucks to get rejected, dude. You're getting rejected on a daily. It's not a good feeling. Nobody looks forward to getting rejected. So he's getting rejected left, right, center. Every time he's trying to give da'wah. And so it was mentally draining. Physically, he was out there all day. It was like a full-time shift. There was a lot of deep work sessions involved. And so he was mentally fatigued, emotionally fatigued. And so what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Qiyam al-layl was basically Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was his stim shot that he could do at night so that he can recover and continue fulfilling his mission the next day. This was his stim shot, his spiritual stim shot, you could say. Okay? إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. He's like, Ya Rasulullah, if you think this is hard for you, the da'wah that you're doing and the pain that you're going through, we're about to burden your load. And so, قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, to help you get through the day, to continue this mission of da'wah. Beautiful, insane. Resting like a professional. Resting like a professional, okay? Stim shots. Danko, huge entrepreneur. Successful, Allah Mubarak. He also rests like a professional. We'll get into the many ways that you can do it. Fawaz Central, Muslim entrepreneur. See, he's all about super productivity and stuff. Of course, the one thing he was also advising Imran ibn Mansur, also the da'wah guy, to rest, recovering quickly. You have to adopt this idea that resting like a professional is actually super productive. What's interesting is this. There's a hadith right here that I have. Indeed, for everything there is zeal. And let me see if I can zoom into that, bro. That's tiny. I can't see that, bro. For everything there is a zeal, and for every zeal there is a slackening. What does that mean? When you first start something, when you first get into something, there's going to be a lot of energy and excitement. And then there's also going to be the polar opposite, the slackening. And so the question isn't, how do I keep working without getting tired, right? The question is, how do you recover as quickly as possible, to prove the point again, all right? And so now let's get into how to actually rest like a professional. What are these stim shots you can take? To make this clear, there are good stim shots and there are bad, poisonous stim shots, okay? The good stim shots is how we can rest like a professional. We can leverage this to rest like a professional. The poisonous stim shots are equivalent to resting like an amateur and make you even more unproductive. What are the good stim shots to take? The good stim shots to take, each one, okay, so this is how you rest like a professional. It only takes 20 minutes. There's multiple ways to rest properly. Choose one. Experiment if you want. Have fun with it. This should be actually really fun. It's a very high ROI thing you can do. Okay. The first thing you can do to rest like a professional is exercise. There's so many forms of exercise. Some of you are going to be already like working out, gym, calisthenics. So a full workout is not the best thing to do. But there's many forms of exercise. Biking, hiking, cardio, jump ropes, whatever. There's a bunch of things you can do. And so you got to get creative with it. Something I do is just like 10 minutes of push-ups. Literally, yeah, 10 minutes of push-ups or 20 minutes of, I'll do 10 sets of pull-ups or like 10 minutes of push-ups, 10 minutes of pull-ups. You understand? And so for me, like the point is that it's supposed to energize you, give you energy. It's how you rest like a professional. Second thing is actually sunnah, to nap for 20 minutes. It's called a cat nap because you're not going into that deep sleep at all. And what I found is this works really well before 3 p.m. After 3 p.m., if I try to take a nap, I'm knocking out. If I put an alarm, after 20 minutes, I'll snooze it and I'll keep sleeping. It's not a nap anymore. So, yeah, I think that's interesting. Third way to rest is walking. It is so simple. Walking is one way to rest like a professional. Super important for us businessmen. I don't know what it is, but every time I walk, I found the sweet spot is 20 minutes. Every time I finish from a walk, I just feel like there's like a switch in my brain that's like, I'm ready to work again, I'm ready. And I think it's interesting because like this also is super important for business, bro. I don't know, I just find this is my ultimate stim shot for me, Rest, how to rest, I guess another way to rest. The fourth way to rest, my bad, jeez. This I found is listening to Quran. Wallahi, I don't know what it is. My guy Yasir al-Dawsari is my favorite. When I listen to his qira'ah, wallahi bartah nafsiyan. I feel like it just gives me energy. And it gives me not just sakina or makes me relaxed. No, it also energizes me. Like, I just feel powerful listening to Quran, Allah's words. And Yasir al-Dawsari is my favorite, so I listen to the Quran through him. Fifth way, archery. I didn't put the hadith here, I forgot to put it. But there's a hadith that says, you can search this up right now. I should search it up right now, bro, I got you. Save you the work. Strength is in archery, hadith. Yes, Riyadul Salihin. Yup, Bismillah. Strength is in archery, and he repeats that 3 times. Okay? It's a sunnah. Archery is a sunnah because it literally gives you strength when you feel weak physically. I personally found that it doesn't give me mental energy. After 20 minutes, if I feel really lazy, if I do archery for 20 minutes, then I feel really, really like energized physically, But you gotta try it out for yourself. Maybe for you, it'll be mentally and physically energized. It's like, if you don't have a bow, bro, like get a bow. It's only $80, $100. It's a sunnah. You're investing, you as a businessman, you understand that investing in yourself is a high ROI thing to do. And it's gonna help you get back into the work faster, which if your work is in business, then if you're working on the right things, you can make more money. It's a return on investment, dude. $100 for a bow is nothing. And it's a sunnah, and it's fun. And it's a very masculine habit to do, bro. It's actually insane. Sixth way to rest is doing something passionate. Something that you could do all day. You get so immersive and you just love it so much. You could do, you could spend all day on it and time will just fly, you know? How do you know, like, how do you find the thing you're passionate about? Like, for me, the way I found it was, what's something that I used to do as a kid that I enjoyed so much? And even if I had like, if money wasn't an issue, I would do this all the time. For me, one thing, it was Quran. Second, it was like literally trying to imitate Yasser al-Dawsari. I really love doing that. The second thing is drawing. I find that almost borderline therapeutic. I don't know what it is. Drawing, and then also knuckleballing. Knuckleball. Trying to spell it. And knuckleball, if you don't know what that is, it's in soccer, if you're in the US, or football, if you're in the UK. You kick the ball a certain way, certain technique, and the ball will move like this in the air. So sick. My gosh. Literally get in the flow state when I practice it, man. And so it's these two things that I feel passionate about. I really, really like, these actually give me energy, no matter how long I do it. You understand? And so you can just ask yourself, like, what's the thing you really enjoy doing when you were a kid, Poisonous stim shots, which are the equivalent of resting like an amateur. Instagram, YouTube, watching streamers, playing video games, eating junk food, sugar, carbs, anything that's hyper stimulating. These things, they do not help you tap back into this state. And a matter of fact, if there's a worse state, it would give you that one. All right? We don't want to go backward. We want to go forward. And so I just think it's like actually insane, dude. Every time you rest like an amateur, it's a poisonous stim shot. Poisonous stim shot is just, it's a stupid thing to do. You're not stupid. Lomabatic, you're actually very smart. And so it's a stupid thing to do to take a poisonous stim shot if you're trying to get back into being productive. Okay? And now, to finish this off, I want to give you something real quick before I finish it off, okay? You're probably not going to finish your Eat the Frog task in the first deep work session, or you want to start another Eat the Frog task for your second deep work session, right? And so if you're not going to finish it, that's like, compare the lion versus the cow. The lion, he takes some time. He slows down everything. And in order to catch the big thing, the big prey. The thing that will, like, think of, let's say, whether it's a coyote, whether it's whatever else the lion eats. It's like, it's gonna last him a while. You understand? Versus like the cow. He's eating grass. He's eating just like 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. And they're so tiny. He's gotta collect a bunch. He's have to even in order to get even slightly full, But the lion, he tears up the biggest thing. He finishes it. Destroys it, devours it. That's the word I was looking for. And so when you're not going to finish eating the frog, the hardest task of the day, after you've fully recovered, like a professional, that's the equivalent of operating at the level of a cow. No offense, but the lion, he eats the hard thing. He eats the big thing. The cow resorts to eating like the tiny little pieces of grass, that don't really get him full. He has to eat a lot, and it's just low value versus high. Like the lion tackles the high value thing. The cow eats like the low value stuff. You understand? It distracts itself with like many things here and there. And for you, that would be low value tasks that don't have any high value. The micro tasks that don't really get you any progress. You understand? I'll give you a quick example. If you don't finish your Eat the Frog task, that's like the equivalent of a guy coming to your house. Maybe he's tiling the floor in your bathroom. I don't know. And he does this. And he finishes 80% of it, but he didn't do this yet. He's preparing, but he didn't finish it. As he's tiling it, and he looks up to the ceiling. He's like, oh, I gotta fix that thing. Oh, I gotta fix that. Oh. And then he goes to the ceiling thing. And then he's like, oh wait, no, I gotta fix the light switch. Oh yeah. Then he goes to the light switch. And then as he's doing the light switch, he's like, oh wait. Oh yeah, okay, I gotta go and finish the thing in the other room, the wiring. And so he's bouncing back between tasks and this and that. He's never gonna finish the Eat the Frog task. And so after you recover like a professional, don't get distracted. Don't have this weird entrepreneurial like ADHD to finish multiple things. Just remember the priority. the highest ROI task for you, okay? And so if you delay eating the frog, that's delaying making money in your business. And like, it's interesting, and like when we got into self-improvement, we got into productivity and stuff, it's like you have to have the discipline and the willpower to resist the things that are tempting, like the tempting bad habits and blah, blah, right? The same applies here. That's even more important when it comes into business, especially when you're trying to take a break and rest like a professional. You're going to be tempted to go to the poisonous stim shots. And so you have to have the discipline and the willpower to refuse it and to do the good stim shot. You understand? And especially when it comes to after you rest like a professional, after you recover and it comes time to sit down and work, don't delay eating the frog. Don't resort to operating at the level of a cow where you're working on these micro little things that don't really make any progress anyway. Because it's like the shiny task syndrome. You don't want to fall into that, you know? And so for a quick little summary, to rest like a professional, not like an amateur. And you do that by taking a good stim shot, not a poisonous stim shot. And you want to finish eating the frog like a lion, not a cow. I hope this helps, bro. This is exactly what's going to help you recover as quickly as possible. Tap back into being from this state emotionally, mentally, and tapping back into this state so you can get back into the flow of productivity and deep work, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.